Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. If you're my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for those of you guys that are wondering where I am, it's a little bit different of an atmosphere. I am doing this in the bathroom. That is right, you heard that, in the bathroom. Because everybody's sleeping and I don't have anywhere else to do it. So I'm doing it in the bathroom. So hopefully the audio is good. I have the little microphone, so it should be clear. It looks like it's coming out clear, so that's a good sign already. Today, when I am recording this video, it is Saturday the 14th at 12:13 in the morning. So yeah, that's right, I'm recording this at midnight. I just got home from work about 2 hours ago. So that is when this video is being recorded. Because I felt like the urgency was needed. So we are going to do that. Earlier today, I made a Blue Sky account. So if you guys have not already, go to the description below and in the comment section below. I will put the link to my Blue Sky account so you can be notified when I post. Because for some reason, a lot of my videos are not being shown. It's not being notified to a lot of you. So if you go and follow my Blue Sky account, I will personally notify you. And you can also follow my Facebook group where you can also be notified by me. And you can also chat with me on both platforms other than YouTube. So it's a great way to interact and be able to get to know me and for me to get to be able to know you. So that would be a great platform. While I was doing that, I went to go look up Blue Sky and somehow one of the things that I wrote back on January 30th, 2023 at 9:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I wrote something regarding the American ties to Russia and Ukraine. So I'll put the whole link in the description below to what I said during this time period so you guys can be able to read it and be able to understand what it is that I am saying. And then we're going to go into the tarot card portion of today's video regarding a lot of you guys' comments regarding Article 5 and NATO and potentially that NATO may intervene in the United States. And we are going to explore that in today's video. So let's just read and then we'll go from there. Now don't forget this video is for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. So what you guys can do for 5 seconds, don't forget to engage with the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you could share this video, wherever it is, any sort of engagement, we get a lot more people to see this, a lot more people like me and you, so we're able to get the message out, but also thank you for all you guys who are participating. If you have not already, I have messaged you back, so go and check. Sometimes you're not being notified when I do respond. But I wanted to say I see you, I hear you, and I love you. So I thank you all for those of you guys who are engaging with the content and are actively participating. I appreciate every single one of you. So let's begin. So it says here, American ties to Russia and Ukraine, a must read. I don't know if this will be taken down, so screenshot if you can. This is the type of video I wanted to make for an extremely long time. So this was recorded on January 30th, 2023 at 9:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know exactly what is entailed in this. I am reading along with you. I don't remember anything from this. So I'm going to hear it for the first time as you are today in this video. So it says here, if anyone wants to know what's going on with the Ukrainian-Russian war, what it appears to look like is similar to a historical past. Ukraine in this accent is more likened to Poland in 1938 and the Entente alliance in World War I. So I think it's more like the French alliance. It's the Entente. I think that's what it is. It's just really neat. As for Russia, it appears to be comparable to Germany of 1923 to 45. After the Central Powers lost to the Entente and forced Germany's economy to collapse and bring forth the rise of the mustache guy. As for this, if Russia fails to win the war, it's possible that peace in Europe is temporary, as Russia undergoes a forced rebellion from top to bottom. It's possible that Russia, with the letter Z, is a plan A, and if you add another Z, it turns to a 90, and you turn the Z. So basically saying that if you take the letter Z, right, and you take another Z, and you turn one of the Z's in the opposite direction by 90 degrees, right? It says here, you turn it by 90 degrees and put it on top of the upright, you get the no-no 1939 German. It is very, very possible that this could occur, as many in Putin's cabinet are more nationalist than any other shared ideology. So if Putin is to be removed, he is likened to the Weimar German Republic right before the rise of a very bad mushman guy. Mashashka, excuse me. I don't even know why I could not pronounce that right. So what is that saying? It's saying that, if Putin is removed from Russia, there will come a rise of somebody who is much worse than Putin. The reason for this is that we are very familiarized with who Putin is. We know him. We are very familiar with him. He's been around since 2000, probably a little earlier than that. But we know who Putin is. The question is that this new person takes over after him, but we don't know who he is. We don't even know what he is and what he represents. Right? It's definitely going to be a male. It's not going to be a female. It's more like a young male. It's more so if anybody were to replace Putin, it will be a young male. So it says here, and I think that, there's a very high probability here that, Russia will go towards fascism, if anything. It looks very likely towards that as a plausible possibility. One of the failures to the Mustache Man plan was to invention it. Excuse me. One of the failures to the Mustache Man's plan was to the German guy. I'm just going to call him the German guy because the saying the mustache is just so tongue twisty. So one of the failures of the German guy plan was the failure of the plan for the intervention of the United States. So basically, Hitler. That's what he's talking about. Hitler. But he did not factor in that the United States was going to intervene in World War II, right? That is why his plan fails. He didn't really incorporate the idea that the United States will break its neutrality. It was dependent on the fact that the United States will remain neutral. However, with the Operation Red Scare was in full swing in the United States in 1950 to 1970s, almost every politician has successfully been replaced and brought out. Basically has been brought out. So basically, like they've been paid, or that they are now owned by whoever they are owned by. Right? They are no longer the American people. They are now the district of Washington District of Corporations. Right? The goal here was to oust the Soviets from now modern-day Russia from power in 1991 by inputting roadblocks to make it collapse under its own weight. To do this, they needed the United States to be a direct challenger to its own power. This wasn't an accident, but rather a premeditated with politicians under full control. It was easy to make the politicians in the SU think that in the Soviet Union, to make politicians in the Soviet Union think that the United States was the enemy, when in retrospect, the quiet uprising was taking place from within. The same way that they used the U.S. president that challenged that nation were operating under secrecy to create an illusion of false enemy, even though that they were working with them the entire time. The famous American politician Reagan said, "Tear down this wall," was only an illusion of what's to come. It had always been here, but it was the inside work to bring the Soviet Union and usher in a new age for the now Russians. By 1991, the Union has fallen and a new era was upon the world, a new Americana order. At least we thought. The economy roared and the technology boom started to take hold. Americans across the board believed Russia to be the enemy and that America was patriotic. But that was just the political theater and nothing else. Come 1998, with the Republican Revolution in the House of Representatives in decades since they last held it, also marked the start of election interference, election denialism, and ironically the start of mass-wide vaccine flu panic. It was also met with few years to follow the war for oil as its justification for the enemy could get it. By 2001, the twins were down and the plane couldn't have done it. Something else had done it. With this steel that couldn't melt unless heated at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a plane couldn't make such damage. But 1 year before this happened, Trump, quote, "America we deserve," stated the name of the most wanted man after 2001. Well, he named, what's the guy who did the Twin Towers? The guy who did the bombing. It was in Trump's book, The America We Deserve. For some reason, this is kind of a little wordy. I guess the grammar is terrible in this, so I do apologize for that. But I am reading as it says, so just bear with me here. While chaos was brewing at home, the enemy abroad was starting a defensive operation. Putin had just been elected president as U.S. president nominees were chosen at the same time, Al Gore versus Bush. So by the time that Putin was being inaugurated or was elected president, Al Gore and Bush had just begun their race, or they'd just been finishing the nomination process for their respective parties in 2000. Trump has recently dropped out of the U.S. presidential election months before Putin's election victory. This marked the start of the next phase, Operation, quote, Takeover. In order for the plan to work, Florida must be taken from Team Blue. Florida must be taken from Team Blue, but to have the Supreme Court stop the count to create a precedent for the future. With this came the victory of George Bush, a Republican. Not even 1 year into his term, Operation Twins were underway, which was needed as an excuse to gain a foothold on the newfound oil, but to also jumpstart Republican victories in the 2002 midterm for the House and Senate, which were needed to solidify their plan. It was almost unheard of to hear of the Republicans gaining or holding the Senate or House prior to the late 90s. The Republicans held the House in 2002 and gained the U.S. Senate, giving Bush the trifecta he needed. By this time, the United States was starting to divide along political lines, and this was becoming so evident years that followed. The early 2000s to 2008 were one of the most important timelines for the blonde orange man, which is 45. That's because the United States needed the perfect political condition for him to rise to power. With the help of Putin, it was able to create the perfect storm. What was needed was to brew the pot of an already distrusting electorate by inputting Obama as the perfect candidate. To do this, Russia needed to infect outdated hardware voting machines where it forced a voter to vote a certain way with the button not clicking on the correct candidate, along with phone calls telling their dead loved ones have already voted, although they've already been long gone. So basically using dead people to vote. Okay? Again, everything is all alleged, everything is just for entertainment purposes only. Is this part of the plan? Last I checked, no one called your house to let you know you voted. Only a dead one. Strange, right? After all, it wouldn't be hard for anyone to find out who your relatives are, alive or dead. Just look up your phone number and it knows more about you than you do. After the election of the first black president, this was the perfect storm. You already have a country dividing, technology becoming mainstream in elections like Twitter, a distrusting electorate, and a media outlet started to favor political parties with Reagan's veto of the FCC fairness doctrine. Although Fox News wouldn't have existed either way, they would have had to at least represent the other side's opinion. Because of this, the flu-vax fears were becoming embedded into the minds of fearful Americans. Fast forward to 2014, Russia started its annexation of Crimea from Ukraine, putting Ukraine and NATO in the forefront. However, NATO was created to counter Soviet aggression and bring peace to Europe. However, with the fall of the Soviets in 1991, the Russian Federation had considered many times, okay, my foot fell asleep. Okay, going back. However, NATO was created to counter Soviet aggression and bring peace to Europe. However, with the fall of the Soviets in 1991, the Russian Federation have been considered many times, including Putin himself of joining NATO in the early years of his presidency from 2000 to 2004. If this had happened, it was very possible the assault on America and Russia would have ended, and this focus would have turned to India and China as the world's new profound enemies. But it's also very likely it would have put vulnerable countries to be even more easily influenced by Putin than our own timeline, possibly forcing NATO to become its own version of world domination. But as we know, Russia did not join NATO, and therefore that timeline did not exist in this reality. But as the 2016 election rolled around, the major talking point of the blonde orange man was centered around immigration, election interference, or election integrity, economy, terror, and hateful ideology. Later in 2020, this is the quote, the fear of vaccine. But all but two were catalysts and set off for the past. People at this time claimed that they were thinking freely, when in retrospect they were pre-programmed to have these thoughts based on familiar past experiences. This also included snapshot filters in 2014, where it went viral for the quote, mask filter during the Ebola crisis, which was Q, now tied directly to COVID, to sell a certain perception. The attack on January 6, January 2021, was no accident, as it coincided with the birth shot where the United States gets closer and closer to its first Pluto return and its first 250-year reign. Neither of which any country in history has ever survived. They either adapt or be forced to only exist as, quote, history. How America chooses this next chapter would be interesting. It could become more democratic or leave an authoritarian-style government and go straight forward to a no-no German-style government of the 1930s. Either way, America must change to survive. The question remains, will it be for good or bad? With 2021 coming to a close and the start of the second month of 2022, the war in Ukraine has begun. The world look bleak by the day. Republicans have sided with Russia while Democrats sided with Ukraine. With Russian authoritarian-style government, just like the United States, both are equally on pace to become a nationalist-focused nation in the likes of 1930. So they're saying that the United States and Russia are heading towards a very nationalistic, very fascist viewpoint, and they're both very much on track together. So if Putin fails in Ukraine, there are many in Russia wanting to be the next leader, and many of them are for evil. So much so that they honor and worship the work of the mustache man from the 1930s. It is no stranger the letter Z that I saw in Italy at the start of the pandemic was the same Z that was forecasted on Russian tanks 2 years later. Was an omen of what's to come. So the moral is, are we at the beginning stage of a new world war? What do you think? So that is what one of my challenge that I got on January 30th, 2023 at 9:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is this part. Now we're going to go into the tarot card reading. Now you're probably asking, Chris, what does this have to do with the reading? Well, because we're referring to NATO, NATO is very important. It's a very crucial part of everything in general. So in order for us to have a better understanding of where we are nationally in the world, on a global stage in the United States, and everything surrounding that, we also need to understand the historical significance of the connection between Russia and the United States and Ukraine, and why that is more significant than the likes of what you would say with Israel. So that is why that is more important. I actually think that Ukraine and Russia is more important than Israel, particularly because it has more of a historical tie and significance to the United States than Israel does to the United States. So there's that. So let's start reading. A lot of you guys have been saying that, I just verified this because I wanted to make sure that it was true, because I don't want to be fearing people. You should never be in a state of fear. The reason why I'm not scared or not fearful, because I am prepared. Okay, there's a difference. You could be in a state of fear, or you can be in a state of preparedness. You get to choose your destiny. You get to choose how you feel. No one's telling you how you feel. No one's telling you what you feel is wrong. But I don't want you to be in a state of fear. I want you to be prepared. So take this more as a preparedness video rather than a state of the push you in a state of fear. Okay, so hopefully the audio is good on this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do another video. But anyway. Okay, so Spirit Angel, tell me about NATO. NATO. Some of you guys have been saying for a while now that NATO Article 5 might be enacted. I don't know whoever the guy who leads NATO, he said that be prepared for wartime and that we might need to consider entering wartime methodology and understanding. So that might be indication of where NATO is heading to a possible conflict or direct conflict. So we're going to explore that. Some of you guys have stated that NATO may intervene in the United States election, how that might play out. We're going to explore all opportunities today. In the previous reading, I didn't really see that the likely outcome, but then again, that had to do with the United States military. It never really mentioned if it was world military, so we will talk about that today and see if we can clarify it right up. Alright, so, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this as clearly as possible, but we will do what we can. Alright, so you got to trust me here. Alright, so Spirit Angel, tell me about NATO. Tell me about NATO. What do we need to know about NATO? Regarding, so what do we need to know about NATO regarding the United States? What do we need to know about NATO and the United States? Any information regarding this? Oh, you guys can't see this. I got this really nice color, like, matte because I don't like my tarot cards on the dirty toilet floor or bathroom floor. That's just disgusting. So I love my cards, and I'm not putting them on the floor. So just want to make sure that's clear. Okay, so let me read the cards. You might see me moving a lot because, well, first of all, I'm on hard floor and not in an actual seating area. So just bear with me here. Okay, so we're asking a question about what is the significance in NATO and the United States, and what's the connection here now. What's the energy? So they're telling me I need more information. So what tarot deck would be great for that? Okay, they're telling me to use this deck here, American Eclipse. So we're going to use this because they're telling me that NATO might be in this deck here. I don't know. I've never seen a NATO card ever come out. So I don't know if there is a NATO card. Okay. We'll just put this back where I found it. Spirit Angel, tell me regarding the United States and NATO, what's the energies and information that we need to know about NATO and the United States? Oh, thank you. I love how they always land in the perfect spot where they need to be read. I love my guys. I tell them all the time. Okay. This is definitely Russia. But we'll clarify that. Okay. Well, I need to be careful. I don't want this stuff on the floor. Okay. What's the bonus deck here? Oh, we have Barack Obama. With his little girl. Every time I see this thing, it reminds me of me and my dog. But this is Barack Obama playing with his daughter in a little elephant outfit. Actually, ironically, it's an elephant outfit. It's so cute. It's the Six of Cups. Okay, the Six of Cups. I think this is referring back to what is the connection between Barack Obama and NATO and the United States. There's some sort of connection that involved Obama. That's interesting because we talked about Obama earlier in that video when I was reading you my messages, right? Okay, so let's take a look. Let's see what it starts here. So the first card we get is the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles is telling me that there is some sort of shafty water for NATO and the United States. There's something here that is indicating that there is something shafty going on. That's the word. I'm getting shafty, and I'm also getting water. Water, Navy. I'm hearing the blues. Something with the word the blues. Yeah, there's something going on with the blues. I don't know if that's a connotation to Democrats. I don't know if that means water, deep blue water. It might be. I've seen submarines. Something like submarines and blue, deep blue. But it could be like the Democrats. Again, it could be something with the Democrats here. Something going underwater. It could for example, we're talking about the United States and the connection between NATO. It's very possible it might be indicating that, when you go into submerged and you go underwater, you're normally going undetected from enemy, right? The enemies cannot detect you. So that could be an indication. It could be more methodical than what it is being shown at the moment. Right here we have the Tate University, right? We have the hangman upright, but this is education, right? It's very interesting that there's a comment that has to do with information regarding around terrorism or domestic terrorism. So the Six of Swords here. And then it has to do with the Leo. Right? The Leo in this aspect has to do with the black cat. And what's the black cat or the black panther? No, that's not even a cat. It's a panther, a black panther. What does the black panther have to do in this picture? Well, what's really interesting about this picture here, it is telling me with the black Leo, the Black Panther with the Leo card here, it's reversed. And why is this important? Because when you have a Black Panther in a mountain range with snow, a Black Panther is an animal that belonged in the jungle. But it's reversed, which tells me that this person, wherever this domestic terrorism is, it belonged where it is found, which means they have information regarding terrorism in a Pacific region or where it originated from, and that it is still currently ongoing. I wonder if NATO somehow classifies the United States as a domestic terrorist hotspot. I don't know if that is true, but again, everything and for entertainment purposes only, but it feels like in some capacity there's domestic terrorism. Now we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seven of Pentacles reversed. Now, this is for me as somebody who has information, but they're still looking and still evaluating information. This is reverse, which tells me that there's a lot of information for the connection between the United States and NATO. There's a lot of information. They have a lot of data. They already did the investigation. They know what is coming. They were very well prepared. Whatever this is that NATO and the United States in terms of their connection, something is prepared and they know more than what is being told. We have here in the next card here, we have the Three of Cups reversed. And the Three of Cups reversed is indicating liberty and democracies. It's reversed, which tells me that there is something here that if the United States falls, so do others. Because the United States is what we call a faux democracy. It is not a real democratic democracy or a democratic nation in general. It's a republic. It's always been a republic. Right? That is why it's saying here, but because it represented, quote unquote, the beacon of democracies around the world, that if the United States goes, everything else will succumb to failure. And now we have the Nine of Swords, and then we have the Three of Swords as well, which is the Heartbreak card. And we have a man being almost like objectified and oppressed by the police. Right? There is some sort of investigation. So what is this saying here? It's saying here that there are two different outcomes that's going on. I feel like both of them are currently going. We have the military. We have people who are doing the right thing, but are misunderstood. Therefore, they need the service animal for their emotional support, right? The disability, they have been kneecapped. Physically, they have been kneecapped, which means that their ability to be able to get information across the line, to get information to be told to the public, has been handicapped. Right? They're unable to do it in an efficient way because in some capacity, these people who are the oppressor are in the top range. They are in positions of power where information is being suppressed. And now at the same exact point here, we have this person who is innocent, the Three of Swords here, who is this black average day American being oppressed by this entity here. Now, what is this telling us here? It's telling us here that the oppression in some capacity in democracy is suppressing information about the goodness of the nation. Therefore, in order for anything to progress, the oppression or the oppressors must be removed from positions of power. The problem is they are in a position of power, and once they are in it, they are very unlikely to let go. That is why that is the card that represents the democracy card in reverse. Now, the next card that we have here, which is very interesting, this is the card that comes out for Vice President Harris, which is the Queen of Wands, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting card because it's a very spiritual card, right? It's the Queen of Wands reversed, right? Now, what does this card mean? Normally, it means that whenever there is any sort of indication of like a king or a queen sitting on a throne, a some capacity or chair, when it's reversed, it means that they are not in power. This is reversal. But when it's upright, that means they are in power or they assume the office of the presidency, whatever that may be, whatever comes first based on its own context. But the card is reversed, which is telling me this is taking place sometime after she has left office. Now, what's really interesting, and I've said this before on my channel, that there's a very high probability, and I'm going to explain it to you now. There's a very high probability that Trump is inaugurated, but then gets removed. I saw that a lot of times in my cards. I do still see it. I do feel it. It looks like, I've seen this image even back in 2021, even 2020 when we kept talking about and reading on Tower Caribbean how Trump will get dragged away from the White House. We thought it was in 2021 it was going to happen. It didn't happen. But it's very possible it's going to happen in 2025 where he gets forced out of the White House and the FBI or somebody going in and dragging his ass on the White House lawn out of the White House. I very much feel like that looks like it's going to be the most likely outcome. So, if anything, if you lose any hope, I wouldn't lose any hope because there is possibility he can be removed from power. He will be forced out of power. You can't hold on to power forever, right? The United States, like I said, is in a very rebellious stage. It's in its French ideology now. What is the French ideology? The French Revolution, where they went after people in high positions of power and threatened to guillotine them. Right? The Reign of Terror. That is the energy that we are starting to enter into. That is the new Americana energy. In the past, we went more of that revolutionary, 1776 energy. That has ended, right? It's gone. That energy's disappeared now. Now we enter the age of Aquarius, which is the age of progression. Excuse me. I just said excuse me to a wooden door, but anyway. Um, what's it called? We enter the age of progression, which means Aquarius, and then because Aquarius is the age of progression, in order for us to progress, well, you have to threaten. Because if there is no progression, there will be other ways in which we so will progress forward. So you either with the time or you're against them, but either way, you're being forced to progress. Either you're in the way and you're removed, or you will go with the progression. The wind is blowing one way, it's going to keep going that way. That is why the United States is heading towards its new ideology, which is the French revolutionary ideology, that new energy. So, because of that Queen of Wands reverse here, we have the upright Taurus card, which is an oil spill. Well, this is like a bowl or something. I don't know what this is, honestly. But it's a bull. What is this telling me here? That there is some leak? I talked about this before. I said that there was going to be a leak. If you had not watched my previous video, which is the January 6th video, and the what to call it, when will we know video, this is the leak. There is the leak that comes out regarding her loss, which is why her presidency card is reversed, right? Which is why her being in office is reversed here. Now, what is that followed by? It's followed by the Five of Wands reversed as well. Now, what is going on here before? Well, we talked about the oppression of black people, but the oppression in general of people from all democracies, but particularly the United States and NATO. So apparently, the information on NATO looks like it's investigating the United States, has all this information. So you're probably asking, well, how did NATO know all this? Because NATO sees the United States, like I said, as a domestic terrorist hotspot. So therefore, they have to treat it like an unstable region. That's where all this information coming from. This is how NATO views the United States. Again, everything just for entertainment purposes only, and everything here is alleged. But we have the Five of Wands here, and it's reversed. We have somebody here being oppressed or removed. The oppressor is being the oppressed, right? But it's reversed, which tells me that in some capacity, in some form, because of the leak, the people who were feeling oppressed in democracy no longer feel oppressed anymore. They feel empowered. The people gain back their power. They gained back their power. That's the keynote here. They gained back their power. They took what's theirs. Now, what does the final card here say? Well, let's take a look at that. Let's see what it says. It says here, the Empress card. Now, you're asking yourself, okay, what is the Empress card? Now, the Empress card can mean many things. It could be the liberty. It could be the United States. It could be the Statue of Liberty. It could be Russia, even. But, what does this mean? This is the empowerment of women. Right? The empowerment of feminine energy. We talk about this all the time on the video, on every YouTube video so far. This is the empowerment. This is the shift. The narrative shifts. Because we have the woman in reverse, which is Vice President Harris. But in the next scene, after the oppression is over and people regain back their power, so does she. She becomes in power. In power, right? You see how that's very interesting? We talked about the empowerment of people. Then the next word that follows is empower. Empower, right? The word I-N, power. In power, empower. Right? Because the people were empowered, she's in power. Which means that in some capacity, there has to be some sort of rest that leads to her victory. Because the people take back what's theirs. And because they take back what's theirs, she's back in. But in order for that to happen, it looks like it has to be taking place after Trump is in office. Because I said this many times before, even in Vice President Harris's fate, that in order for her to become president, she must defeat the incumbent. Right? The incumbent, it will be Donald Trump in this case. Now the question is that really bothers me, is that I don't see Trump in the White House. So what is this meaning? Because if Trump is not in the White House, then who is in the White House at this point, and who is she defeating? That's the thing that doesn't make any sense, because there's so much more to the story. There's so many dynamics at play that it's very hard to pinpoint what the cards are specifically saying. Now at the top of this card here, we have is aided by the Temperance card, which is very interesting because this is the first time I've ever seen this card. Now you have this greedy man pouring money into a cup. when you see the angel locked up, being tied up, and this guy, this greedy man, is walking away. But this card was reversed, which tells me that the money man, which is 45, will be removed, and the woman will be in power. She will be in power, but she must be careful, because the person who is next to her, whoever who is next to her, cannot be trusted. We have here the Knives of Swords. This person is not patriotic to the country. This person is against the United States. They are working for another entity. They are being paid. So their allegiance is not to the United States. Their allegiance is to somebody else other than the United States. Now, I also received other information as well, that if she does decide to go in, and she does decide to take the opportunity and the power from the people who entrusted her to do the right thing, she must be very careful, because the people in positions of power that Trump put in back in 2017 all the way to 2021 will come roaring back. Those people in positions of power have already set in motion the activities that will take place if and when a removal does take place. So she does need to be aware of potential militaristic activity, militaristic pushback of some sort. I don't know what that had to do directly with the military, or it had to do with militias, or private militias, or private military, like Proud Boys, for example. We don't know exactly yet what that entails. But again, this video is just for entertainment purposes only, and for educational purposes only as well. So the top of the card here, or the bottom of the deck actually, for the right away, is the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords. Now, this is Biden. Biden is reversed here, which means there's some sort of slowness. There's not a swiftness in terms of motion, right? It's followed by the government. There's a slowness happening within the government that is leading to a lot of people feeling like, what the hell is going on? Why is it taking so long? Right? That's because of a lack of victory, or the inability to win the election outright, and to be able to defeat the man who wanted to hold on to power, right? Because of that struggle that they had ineptitude, they need to get out of the idea that the people did not actually reject them, but instead the people have actually chosen them to be their leader, right? But they need to be able to understand that this is not a choice. You cannot make a decision based on the understanding of what's better for the United States. You have to make a decision for what is better for the moment, because in order to know what's better for the country, you must meet the moment, right? And the people did not choose that guy, so why would you put a guy in that people did not choose? If that makes any sense, right? And this is why they're saying do not make a decision on that, because your thoughts are just as valid. But it's saying here that you cannot decide that, because the truth is already going to be revealed. The truth is going to be revealed about the thievery. And yeah, we get it. We get the idea that, okay, so all this information is being revealed. And we understand how you feel and you're not so sure. Well, it's not up for you to decide. It's for the people who are ready to decide. You need to honor the people. You have to pick and choose. Do you choose the people, or do you choose greedy? That's up to Biden. He can pick whatever one he picked. Did he choose to go with the greedy people who wanted power and let them win, and he will be known as a coward? Or will he choose the people? That's a question that remains. Again, we have here, he's been up all night about it. He had a lot of hardship, right? He was unable to, counteract the media. Part of Biden's problem is that he'd never been able to effectively attack the media in a way that Trump was able to use it and wield it against the United States. He was never able to officially communicate that aspect. And because of that, he was unable to do what he needs to do, and he's unsure about what to do, because his decision is so vital to the country that it could destroy it, and that's what he's up about every night. But in the end, there's a Nine of Pentacles here, and this is the woman. The card has always been mostly up reverse in a lot of my readings, the Nine of Pentacles. But it's saying here, because the Nine of Pentacles, there needs to be an even number. The even number will come at the time when it's needed most, and the Ace of Pentacles will come providing that number 10. The clear clarity that we need, right? So that is the story of the bottom of the deck. Now let's see what's on the top of the deck here. The top of the deck is talking about the election. This is the ballots, right? We have people coming in to cast their votes and they're being tossed out via the cup being tossed over. Card is reversed, followed by the Tower card. A reversal, a removal, a change in positions of power, people being forced out, big change coming regarding the Republicans. Okay, there's big changes coming. We have here, it has to do with election day. This is the 301. See, this has always been my card for election day. That has never changed. This is overseeing and looking at the results as it comes in on election night. This is reversed. What's telling me that there feels like to me that there might be indication that say, oh, maybe the obvious wasn't there on election night, but the obvious is there now. We have here the stun card. Revelation is coming, but not so much. But this is saying the revelation is coming, but not yet. Not so much, but not yet. But when it does, it will be revealed, and it has to do with 45. And it has to do with the judgment that he made to be able to do with the American people's will, a judgment, but also misguided judgment. That's what's very important here, misguided judgment. Biden stepped into the center stage. He's telling a speech of some sort, and when he makes this speech, it's going to be about the election, right? The election. It's always been my election card, the 10 of Cups. Right? Now we talked about the number 10, right? We talked about number 9 being the 9 of Pentacles. We talked about when the time is right, the Ace of Pentacles would make the number 10. Well, we have a number 10 again, referring to the election. And he's going to make a speech regarding the election about the Democrats here. There's something going on with the Democrats. And that's reversed, but they're saying here that the page of swords, that the person who lost, right, is the page of swords reversed. To Donald Trump, right, was it the King of Pentacles here, who lost to Donald Trump, which is also reversed. Is the winner. It's the divine winner. It's the winner. It's the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune in this aspect is divine. It's meant to be happening in the way that it's supposed to happen. However, he's saying that America's at a crossroads right now. America's at a crossroads. It's unsure of where its future is now heading now that the information is revealed. There will be major protests, major pushback from people in position of power, even people who have voted for Trump. There will be rebellions. There will be riots. However, majority of the people will rejoice. The idea that they will once again save from the indomitable T-Rex. I don't know why I said that, but that's just the word that came right out. Indomitable T-Rex. That is the upright position. The people will rejoice. They will be dancing in the streets. That justice has been disturbed. Because we have the people being fed information, being fed the coins, right? Greedy, manipulating and buying people votes. But it's reversed. It's telling me justice will win. Justice is going to win for the people. This is the age of Aquarius. It's something that we've all been working towards. We've been working towards this very moment. And the devil will collapse. That's why he's reversed. He will collapse. And when he does, a new young male will take the reins. However, we're not without resistance, not without a fight, that he may not ever leave the White House. And when he does, this unity, this content with the electoral process will start a reformation, a reformation of the country, a realignment, a new form of government, new style of voting will take place. And because of that, the United States had just barely survived. So, that is where we are heading over the next couple of years, but this is what the United States and NATO and its connection to everything all is. This is the connection that United States and NATO have. So this is what it feels like very informally. It feels like this is what the information that NATO has on the United States. So this is the connection, by the way. This is only the information that NATO has. I don't know if this information has been shared with the United States. Particularly because, well, first of all, this is private information. You don't take, for example, you don't go to Al Qaeda in Syria. I think that's in Syria, I don't know. don't really, you can quote me on it. You can correct me in the group, in the comment section. But for example, you don't go and tell your enemy, oh, this is what we think of you. Like, this is all the information we have on you. First of all, you don't tell your enemies what you have on them. First of all, that's rule number one. So, I don't really feel very confident that NATO has told or has leaked any of this information to the United States in some capacity. Well, now, when I say the United States, I mean the United States as an entirety, as an entity, as its own. Um, yeah, I don't feel like NATO has been openly honest with the United States because it sees it again as an unstable country, and rightfully so. So, that is the connection that the United States and NATO have. That is the information that NATO has on the United States, and that is how it views the United States, which is very interesting. I find it to be quite informative. I really liked it. I actually think this reading was pretty good, actually. Even I was like fully engaged with it. I was like, oh, I love it. It's like so good, so informative. So we're going to do a second part of this video, and the second part of this video is asking whether or not NATO is going to intervene in the United States, and if it does, is it going to intervene in the election, as some of you guys have been suggesting. And then we'll finish off with wartime. Okay, so Spirits and Angels tell me about NATO. Okay, so it just briefly showed, I'm sure you guys just got that in video, the 4 of Swords upright. So keep note of that. That might show up again in this reading. Spirits and Angels tell me about the United States and whether or not NATO is going to interfere in the United States presidency for the inauguration, for the electoral certification, possibly a recount. Is NATO getting involved in some capacity? Will it help aid and support the United States if, God forbid, it were to say that the election was nullified and it needs to revote, or whatever it is that happened? I'm open to all suggestions here. What will happen? What is NATO getting involved in the United States in the next year? Okay, so we have judgment card. That's a very key indicator here. There has to be some sort of judgment here. What else regarding NATO and its involvement? Okay. I'm very nasally in here. I think it's because it's all the heat is being pumped out of this vent, and it's like making me so nasally. Okay, so hopefully I sound clearly to you. All right, what else? What else do we need to know about NATO? Ooh, okay. That's not a good sign already. So to tell me this is the final outcome card here. What is the bottom deck here? We have the 4 of Cups reverse. Is this enough cards, or do I need to take the eclipse cards for this for NATO? So tell me I have enough cards, so we can do this reading. Okay, so it says here revolving around. Don't know what this is, but Okay, so we have the Judgment card. Now, the Judgment card is very interesting in this aspect because the Judgment card is very significant. It's about a proper judgment on the United States and its view on everything regarding that. So we're asking the question, is NATO going to get involved in the United States? I think right now NATO is making a proper judgment. They are reviewing the information. We saw the information that they have regarding the United States being an unstable democracy and how if the United States falls, so do other democracies. Despite the fact the United States is not an actual democracy, it's known as a faux democracy or also known as a republic, but the image that the United States has projected across the world as a strong democracy has put forth an ideology that if a democracy here, the strongest democracy, quote unquote, can fall in the United States, but then who's to say we can't challenge democracies elsewhere? That is what they're concerned about, the ramification, the domino effect. That is what they're more so concerned about. So the judgment here, that's the judgment. Now what's the next card that follows? We have the Ace of Cups. They have the votes. For some reason, NATO has information regarding around the ballots. They have information regarding around the ballots. So here's what I'm being shown. So I don't know if you guys are history nerds like I am. Um, I've been getting information just now that, back in World War II, yeah, World War II, I believe. Yeah, I think it was World War II. That apparently the NATO Germans back in 1939 sent out a telegram to Mexico. I think this might be World War One. I don't really know. I don't really remember anymore. Either World War One or World War Two. I think it's more so World War Two. Sent out a telegram to Mexico. Yeah, it was World War Two. Yeah, now I remember. It's Wilson Churchill. He sent a telegram to Mexico. It was intercepted by the British, and it's told the Mexican to intervene and attack the United States, keeping the United States occupied and out of the war in exchange for the United States land, and Germany would take some of the land there, but Mexico can gain back all the land that they lost to the United States during the Mexican-American Civil War. I mean, the Mexican-American War. So that is what I'm seeing here, but I'm seeing an interception by NATO countries. Some NATO country, either one or many, had intercepted information regarding around the election and how the ballots were done. Now, I don't know if this is related to maybe possibly Romania or some other information, but I feel like there is a connection here that they recognize a pattern. And because of that pattern, they might be able to have intercepted what has happened. So I think it's more so than anything, I feel like it's more so like an interception of a code. Like they found, and when I say a code, I mean it could be physically an actual coding of messages here, or it could be an actual coding of mechanism within a computer network in Freeman that suggests similar coding mechanism in other machines. Now it's being aided by the next card here, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of swords upright. Now this card here, first thing I heard in my ear was wrong choice, wrong outcome. That's what I heard. That's straight up what I heard. Wrong choice, wrong outcome. We have the 3 of swords here, which is the heartbreak card. Now, what is the heartbreak card? Now, we kept talking about for a while now, we kept talking about the heartbreak. The heartbreak in the United States, that there's a heartbreak coming, a break-in of the political dynasty in the United States, something breaking regarding around the heart, right? This very soul, the very structure of the United States. We talked about this in many aspects, that it could mean many things. It could mean all of them, if they even. We just talked about the CEO being unalive. That is the heartbreak of the American healthcare system. Now we're talking about the next one, the heartbreak of the electoral system. Every aspect, every category of the United States is going to be challenged. I mean, it's no brainer. You go elsewhere, you go to Korea, you go to Japan, you go to China, you go to North Korea, you go to South Korea, you go to Haiti, you go to all these countries that are in unstable regions right now. Even France, for God's sake, they are all unstable because they are entering the age of Aquarius, which means that all their country, all the energies are being changed from within. Every category is being challenged. But for the United States, though, it has Pluto return, Saturn and Uranus, also very significant planets in the American birth chart, along with Mars. And those 4 planets alone will cause a ramification, very strong paced change that you will look over the next 10 years. 10 years from now, in 2030, you will look the next past 6 years that just happened and say, what country is that? That is what we're heading right now. We're heading for massive changes. That goes for everything, our food industry, our healthcare industry, the way we view our electoral system, our democracy, the way our government works. Everything in our lives are going to change. Even our own selves are going to go through these changes as well. What does it mean to be an American? So now, what does the 3 of Swords hearts mean? Well, it's very simple. In its own sense, the 3 of Swords is very key in terms of this notion. So when you look at the 3 of Hearts here, the 3 of Hearts is talking about a heartbreak. It's talking about a reveal. Then what we're asking is regarding NATO and the United States and whether or not NATO is going to intervene in the United States. They have information. They have encoded information. intercepted information. They found similar pattern that also relates to the United States in some capacity. The three stores here, which means the three big ones. We already got the big one. The big one is the unaliveness of the healthcare system. The next one is going to be the Electoral College or something regarding the election. And then we don't know what the third one is. The third one could be the election, but there could be a big one in the center before the election. So we don't know exactly the two other players and factor that's playing into the heartbreak, the big soul of America. What is the most important for the United States in this decade? These are the three big factors going into the next 30 years where we're going to see the story play out in the United States. So there's two more factors here that's going to play. Now, it looks like to me that NATO has information. Now, they're not sure regarding whether or not they're going to reveal that. And here's why. So when you start to look at the information here a little bit more clearly, we have them not so sure about the information, but the information they have is going to break the United States. Because you have Biden, this is my Biden card here, which is the King of Cups reversed. And the King of Cups reversed is telling me here that he is off the throne, which is not very physically in that sense here, but it feels like he was thrown off. In some capacity, Biden was thrown off. Now, a lot of you guys are saying, well, Biden's going to be removed. No, I don't see that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Biden emotionally and mentally was not expecting this. Now, here's why I say he was not expecting this. Because in some capacity, he believed the best in the United States. He did not believe that what his intuition was telling him was accurate. That what he believed for so long was true. That his nightmare, his worst case scenario had came to life. That is why it breaks Biden. So, that is why that card is reversed. He's been thrown off. His stent has been thrown off. You know, it's very ironic because I see Biden as being very psychically attuned. It seems like he is very psychic, and I think that this I don't know if he realizes that his gift, and he's very gifted, he's very empathic, but he's very gifted, and I don't think he realizes that. I don't think he gives himself enough credit. But it revolved around the election, right? That is why he'd been thrown off his stent regarding the three of stores. But the final outcome card here is this card, which is the world card, the timeline. The world has been changed forever. That is the word I got. The world has been changed forever. So, what does NATO know whether or not NATO is going to get involved? I actually do agree with some of you guys. I do think NATO is going to get involved, but I don't get any indication of war. At least, not in the sense that it's telling me. I don't know if that is something that is telling me. It's telling me that there's information that is so highly sensitive, so highly classified, that it throws Biden off. It throws Biden in a whirlwind in which he did not expect. That is what I'm getting. I'm getting that he is shocked at what he gets. And he's not sure what to do with the information that he's receiving. If it's very possible, and you guys could be very right here, that it's very possible Article 5 could be enacted because the information is so severe. It could be classified as an act of war. Particularly on the notion here, three of stores here falling upright while Biden in the election is reversed, which tells me that there's something here revolving around those two big players. Right? It's revolving around those two big players, which is going to be very significant going forward, and they're very plausible outcome that this could be an act of war. So, for the third part of this video, which is going to be the last part of this video, we are going to explore the possibility and the plausibility of a not World War III, but the enactation by NATO to enact Article 5 under the pretext and condition that the United States has entered the Act of War Doctrine, and will it be enacted. So that is what we are going to read on, and we'll see what information comes up. I don't know what to say about all this. It is juicy information. I think this is the first time I actually ever read on NATO directly. Normally it was just like the Ukrainian-Russian war and, stuff like that. More the mundane stuff. But this is next level information right here. You guys let me know what you think. really interesting information. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is like next level type stuff. Like, this is like, I don't even know what to think. But this is just the icing on the cake, you know? Alright, so and then in the next video we'll probably talk about like why JD Vance is escaping. And I kept seeing it on January 20th for some reason he's escaping. So this might be playing into this. So we'll read on that Monday. Or tomorrow night. Whatever's more likely. Alright, so let's read on NATO and whether or not they're going to enact Article 5. Alright, so Spears Angel tell me about NATO. Is NATO going to enact Article 5, quote unquote, the act of war, because of the election interference and the interception that they received regarding the election and electoral patterns in the United States compared to other countries within NATO or within the European region or sovereignty, will NATO enact Article 5 for the first time ever? Will they enact Article 5, dragging in all NATO countries into a full-on conflict? Because, well, the first card that comes up is election, that's for sure. Let me bring this back. The election card shows up again, so that is the first card here. Okay, so that's the first card. Well, I can only imagine what the rest of these things are going to look like. So Spirit Angels tell me more about the information regarding the election. Okay, well that's not good. So the bottom attack here is the real version. So I'm here in due time. I'll see what that means. Now again, like I said, don't be in a state of fear. There's no reason to be in a state of fear. We all have to be prepared. Okay, I'm prepared. I'm in tune. I'm very calm. If you tap into my energy, I'm very calm. Right, so should you be. There's no reason to be in a state of fear. There's no reason to be scared. Just be prepared. That's all. Right? Alright, so Spirit Angel, tell me about NATO. NATO will enact Article 5, the quote-unquote an act of war, because of election interference in the United States and other countries. Okay, so here's what I'm getting. I just got a hit. Okay, so I'm clairaudience for those of you guys who are new. I just got a hit that said that, while Article 5 is not likely, it could be one of the plausibilities that they might explore, but there is one doctrine that is not yet public, not only to the people, but to people who are not in the NATO alliance. There's doctrines in there, they have a secret code. There's a secret code here, but it's like a secret agreement that they all made, that they have to sign on to. It's like a secret doctrine that is not known, because in case of war or a case of a plausibility where something as drastic and as extreme as this, that the enemy does not know what your plans are and how you may respond or act. So there is like almost like a secret agreement where people and countries come together in a secret agreement, and this is how we're going to respond in case agree. We're all going to agree in secret that this is how we're going to put, but we're going to put in Article 5 at the forefront publicly, so people, even all of the nation, think, okay, so this happened, this is how we're going to respond. But underneath here, there's a little subtext that says, okay, but here is a secret bill that we can enact instead of enacting Article 5 of NATO. So this feels like there is some sort of secret bill that is yet to be exposed or yet to be explored. So I think they are indeed exploring that as an opportunity. So I don't think that Article 5 is going to be the direct one that they're going to go to. There are other secret ones first that they are going to explore that not yet public, because they cannot let the enemy know what their next move is, right? The reason why Russia is ahead is because he knows how every country operates. But if you don't let them know how you operate, then they can't get ahead because they don't know. They need spies, right? They can't get spies in NATO because, well, first of all, NATO literally has countries and the leaders change all the time unless you influence the leaders. So that's the only way you can do it. So, Spirit Angels, tell me about NATO. Okay, so the first card that we have here is the 5 of Swords. And the Five of Swords is telling me that there's information regarding, NATO and this possibility of Article 5. So this is number 5, the Five of Swords. Right, that's what we're referring to. We're referring to the past. We're going back to the past. Because this is the Six of Cups here, which is my going back to my past card. Unless this is reversed, it means going to the future. They're going to the past. There's something regarding NATO. The NATO done before that is a key indicator on how they're going to respond to something like this. They've done this before is what it feels like. They're going to do something that they've done before. But something that's down on people's radar. Because the next card here is we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. This is the secession line. Like the line of secession. But it's not. I'm hearing welfare. Something to do with welfare. I'm hearing the well-being of all nations and alike. Very interesting wording. Well-being of all nations and alike. The next card here is we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of Cups reversed. The 7 of Cups is telling me here that there is no options. They don't have an option. There's a lack of options. But through the cloud of inoptions, will come one that shines the brightest, the Ace of Pentacles. So they will make a decision. But I'm not so sure, I'm not so confident it's the article of, the 5th article. I don't feel confident in that. There's something about it that just feels like there's something missing. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like something is missing in the story. Because we have the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is telling me they're not revealing all the cups. Because the cup is reversed here. The cup is not all being revealed. It's not all what it seems. Because the other card here, there's other powers who are looking to influence not only countries in NATO, but also the United States at the same exact time. They're looking to world dominate. So we gotta be very careful on that course. Because it feels like this is a bigger power play than what it appears to be on a smaller scale. People are thinking, oh, maybe it might just be Romania, the United States, and maybe there's a few other hot pockets. But it's saying that NATO is aware that there's more at play here than what meets the eye. That there are more attacks that's oncoming. But in the United States here, again, this is my 2 Biden cards here. The King of Cups here, which means Biden's actually involved in some NATO. He is involved. He's going back to the past. But this is also my NATO card too, because I never read this as NATO before. This is the first time I get a NATO card. I'm hearing a lot of water. I've seen this as NATO. So NATO's not revealing all the cup because it has a cup here as well. Because they're not revealing all the cups, NATO already has the cup that it's going to use, but it's not going to be the cup that you think it is. And we have here the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands reversed. I'm hearing Angela Merkel. It has to do with the time when Angela Merkel was Chancellor of Germany. So something revolving about Angela Merkel and her involvement in NATO. About a specific clause that was put into place or something that was used during her time in office. Whether she was actually involved in a motion to create this thing, whatever it is, that was a time period. It might just using her as a time reference. We have here there is resistance. There's something revolving around the resistance and how it responds. But I don't think it's war. I don't think it's war. I really don't. It's the 10 of Swords reversed. It could be, but I don't see any indication of war. I don't. The next card that comes up is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of Swords. It's not giving me war. I don't see war for NATO. I feel like there's another secret plan that's in place that they are exploring and how to adopt it, if that makes any sense. That's what it feels like. It feels like, NATO is adopting this new method, this new thing that has been put in place by the time Angela Merkel was chancellor, or the time that Angela Merkel has been chancellor. She only been gone, I think, for about 3 years, I believe. So, it's pretty recent and all that. So that is the whole thing of this video. I'll probably record another video in this bathroom probably soon. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Don't forget to engage. Don't forget to share this video. I will see you all in the next video. Until then, peace out. I love you. And let me know in the comment section below what you think and whether or not the audio is clear. Because that's very important. Always. Until then, guys, I love you. Peace out.